Good evening, ma'am. My name is Kamaljeet Kaur, and this presentation deals with the significant issues of geographical restrictions which limited scopes of India to opt for digital education. Digital inequalities. As opined by Ye and Tasai, fewer people in India can afford to buy or rent the device needed to access digital information. Differences inside the economic, cultural, as well as cognitive resources need to effectively use information and communication technology are referred to as digital inequality. The digital divide is regarding both their chances to use communication and information technology, according to the International Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. People are also prevented from obtaining electronic information due to a lack of proficiency with communications and computer system. A digital divide is also a result of limited access to information and communication technologies. Importance and impact of geographical restrictions, which is causing digital inequality. The main reason to choose this topic is to analyze the loopholes of how geographical restrictions of India turn out to be the cause of digital inequality in education. India has a very interesting geographic diversity, and because of this, some of the locations are so remote and difficult to reach that contact is just not possible. There are towns in the Himalayan highlands that are located more than 4,500 meters above sea level. In the western desert, there are still people who lives on the road. The primitive tribal population living in the northeastern evergreen forest or on islands are completely cut off from modern society. The digital inequality was made possible by the unfavorable physical closeness of some locations. Technological limitations like device inappropriateness and bandwidth accessibility problems represent a significant obstacle when it comes to digital education. The pie chart reveals that rural-urban digital divide in India is due to poor broadband penetration rates in rural regions. As a result, students in urban regions are made to opt for only the orthodox traditional education process with no traces of internet to access study materials online. As per a recent survey published in India Today Webdesk, there are still more than 50% of Indian students in both rural and urban areas who do not have any access to internet. Regional digital divide and intrastate digital inequality. States also significantly differ in the matrix in terms of the number of individuals who have access to computers or the knowledge to utilize the internet. Digital literacy is higher in southern states than it is in the northern ones. Kerala is the state with the least distinction between rural and urban areas, and it has more computers than any other state in rural areas. Both in urban and rural areas, Himachal Pradesh has the highest rate of internet connection in the nation, while 55% of residents in the national capital have internet connectivity. When it comes to intrastate divide, metropolitan areas are more digitally literate than their rural counterparts in different states. Assam exhibits the most striking inequality with nearly 80% of the richest urban homes having internet access and 94% of those in the state's poorest rural home lacking it. Kerala has the least inequality with more than 39% of poorest rural homes having internet access compared to 67% of the richest urban homes. Lack of infrastructure. In India, the use of internet and other modern information and communication technologies is primarily restricted to metropolitan areas, with rural areas remaining outside the scope of new technology. Most rural areas continue to experience slow economic growth and they have lower population densities. As a result, they are not a profitable location for businesses. In rural India, this has resulted in high prices for modern technologies. The Indian government has a difficult time bridging the rural urban divide. Some of the rural areas and mostly the mountain areas are not able to have proper infrastructure for the network. Here I want to add an example of pupils in the Bagan area of Uttarakashi district must journey 10 to 12 kilometers from their houses to a mountain top in the Kotadhar area to access the online education where they may access mobile service from the neighboring state of Himachal Pradesh. Although the Indian government is taking the lead in developing digital infrastructure, much more work has to be done in this area. According to the Ministry of Communications, response in the Lok Sabha based on telecom service providers statistics, 25,067 villages out of 5,97,618 inhabited villages in the country lack mobile access and internet. In terms of internet stability and speed, India is ranked 89th globally. Only 15% of households have access to the internet, and only 5.5 subscriptions to mobile broadband are available for every 100 individuals, according to a World Economic Forum survey. In addition, there are now just 600 corridors where broadband is available, most of which are in or around the top 50 to 100 Indian cities, leaving rural areas with sub-access. Today's requirements call for the use of 5G networks, which will speed up data downloads. Next is urbanization and digital divide. According to Graham, not only do digital barriers exist between global regions and between cities, but also, and this is crucial, within cities themselves. Given the population density and activity concentration in cities where people with high levels of connectivity coexist with those who have little or no access to the internet or new technologies. There are many other obstacles for India to adopt digital education. In India, power failure in remote places is another reason for digital inequality. Lack of quality laptops, smartphones, computers in remote areas is another, because many people have very low income and they cannot afford digital tools, digital gadgets to their children for their studies. Teachers in rural areas lack required digital skills to provide digital education in India. As an international student, I had very low digital literacy skills, but with the passage of time while working on this subject and while working on the assignments, I have learned so many things. So many new technological things I have learned, which I will use in my teaching practice in the upcoming years. At last, it can be said that India currently lacks the infrastructure needed to provide its pupils with digital education. If we are to close the digital divide, we need a more robust infrastructure that can deliver kids with reliable internet access and technological devices. People still primarily educate in their own ways in villages, which leaves them ignorant about digital learning, especially in developing countries like India. By producing digital tools that may be utilized for educational services, India can take advantage of this potential while also closing the digital divide and promoting domestic manufacturing. Thank you very much.